I spent the past year reading tire discussions from people who actually live with these things. And after a while, you start seeing the same complaints show up again and again. Not when the tires are brand new. 15,000 miles later, 20,000, 30,000. That's when owners start telling you things most new tire reviews can't. 3 patterns kept showing up, and the first one completely changed how I research tires. Because apparently, a tire can have a honeymoon phase. Here's the thing nobody tells you when you drop $1,200 on a set of premium tires. The tire you test drive today isn't necessarily the tire you'll be driving on 2 years from now. One complaint kept appearing in owner discussions. The tires were great when new, quiet, smooth, comfortable. Then somewhere down the road, they weren't. I found a Michelin Defender LTX owner describing exactly that experience. Nice, quiet ride when new. Then around 15,000 miles later, noise became the complaint. Another owner described his all-terrains as unbearable around 20,000 miles. Rivian owners have complained about factory Pirelli Scorpion all-terrains getting seriously loud with mileage too. Now, does that mean every Defender or Scorpion suddenly turns into a mud tire at 15,001 miles? Obviously not. And this is where Reddit can be useful and dangerous. Noise can change because of treadwear, irregular wear, rotation patterns, alignment, tread design, even the vehicle itself. But when I'm researching a tire now, I don't care nearly as much about this review. Super quiet, great ride, highly recommend. Of course it's quiet. It's practically still wearing the shipping label. I want the guy with 25,000 miles on them. That's the review that tells me what I'm actually buying. Because tire reviews have a massive blind spot. Most people review the tire during the honeymoon. I want to know what the marriage looks like. Pattern number 2 took me down a rabbit hole I genuinely wish I hadn't entered. Tire warranties. You see, 70,000 mile warranty, and your brain naturally translates that into, this tire should last 70,000 miles. That's not really what it means. A mileage warranty is a limited warranty with conditions. It is not a promise that every tire will physically reach that mileage. And if a qualifying tire wears out early, you generally shouldn't expect somebody to roll 4 brand new tires out of the warehouse and apologize. The replacement can be prorated. So imagine a tire costs $200 and carries a 60,000 mile warranty. It qualifies for a treadwear claim after wearing out early. Depending on the manufacturer's terms, you may receive a partial credit toward replacement, not a free $200 tire. And there are maintenance requirements. Rotations matter. Proper inflation matters. Alignment and even wear can matter. Documentation can matter. Exactly what you need depends on the warranty, which is why I'd check the actual terms for the tire you're buying rather than trusting the giant number printed in the advertisement. And this is the part I think tire marketing gets backwards. The big number is incredibly easy to understand. The conditions attached to that number, those are considerably less exciting. So I don't ignore mileage warranties. I just don't use them as my main reason to choose a tire anymore. A 70,000 mile warranty on a tire I don't like at 20,000 miles isn't much of a selling point. And pattern 3 is probably the one that'll save you the most money. There is a huge area between buy the most expensive Michelin in the store and buy 4 mystery tires for $74 each from a brand whose logo looks like it was made yesterday. That's where things get interesting. Owner discussions kept bringing me back to established brands like General, Falcon, Hankook, and Kumho. Not because they're secretly better than every premium tire, they're not, but because there's a point where spending another $200, $300, or $400 on a set of 4 may buy you performance that your driving doesn't actually need. One General Ultimax owner described them as his reasonably priced tire of choice across multiple vehicles. Great traction and performance for the money. Other value tire discussions repeatedly bring up brands like Falcon, Hankook, and Kumho. And that's an important distinction. I'm not talking about buying the cheapest tire you can find. I'm talking about the middle of the market. There are plenty of drivers who absolutely should spend more. If independent testing shows the premium tire stopping meaningfully shorter in the wet, that's real performance. If you live somewhere that gets hammered with snow, winter performance matters. If you're pushing a performance car through corners, grip and steering response matter. If you're towing 10,000 pounds down a mountain, please don't choose your tires because some guy on Reddit said mine seem fine. But here's where I disagree with the way a lot of people shop for tires. They decide the brand first. I want Michelin. I only buy Bridgestone. Goodyear's came on the truck, so I'll buy Goodyear's again. And then they look for a tire. I think that's backwards. For somebody commuting to work, running errands, taking highway trips, and driving in ordinary conditions, I'd rather find the performance I actually need, then see how much I have to pay for it. Because more expensive doesn't mean better at everything. Sometimes you're paying for shorter wet braking. Sometimes you're paying for better winter performance. Sometimes you're paying for refinement. And sometimes you're paying for capability you'll never use. So after reading all of this, I've completely changed how I research tires. And no, I don't just type Best Tires 2026 into Google. Here's what I do. First, I look at independent testing. Wet braking, dry braking, handling, snow performance if it matters. These are things I don't trust owner reviews to measure. A guy saying, "Great in the rain," doesn't tell me whether that tire stops 5 feet or 15 feet longer than another tire in an emergency. He probably hasn't driven both back to back. Then I go to long-term owners, and I search differently. Instead of, "Is tire X good?" I search Tire X 20,000 miles, Tire X road noise, Tire X treadwear, Tire X would you buy again? That's where you find the weird stuff. The tire that becomes noisy, the tire that refuses to wear out, the tire everybody loved for the first year and hated by the third. Professional tests tell me what a tire can do. Owners tell me what it's like to live with. You need both. And only after that do I compare prices, not before. Because a $150 tire that performs poorly isn't a bargain. But a $170 tire that gives me everything I need, compared with a $240 alternative, I'll happily keep the difference. There are situations where I'd stop trying to save money. Performance car? Buy the grip. Severe winter? Buy the snow performance. Heavy towing? Get the correct load capacity and the tire suited to the job. These are places where the tire is doing serious work, and squeezing another $100 out of the budget can be a terrible trade. But for the person driving a CR-V, RAV4, Camry, F-150, or Silverado to work every day, don't automatically assume the most expensive tire in your size is the smartest purchase. The best tire isn't the one with the biggest warranty number. It isn't the one with the most recognizable logo. And it definitely isn't whichever tire has 5 stars after 600 miles. It's the tire that performs where you need it to perform and still makes sense after 20 or 30,000 miles. So here's the question I actually want answered. Have you owned a tire that was fantastic when new and completely changed after 15 or 20,000 miles? Noise, ride quality, wear, whatever happened. Drop the exact tire model, roughly how many miles were on it, and whether you'd buy it again. Let's build the long-term tire review section that every tire website somehow forgot to make. Subscribe if you're into this stuff. I'll keep reading the threads so you don't have to.